Okay, so this is a tutorial on how to make a histogram in Excel and overlay on top of it a Gaussian probability density function PDF. And so let's assume we've got some data, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the data from both groups A and B for the statistical variation lab. I'm going to say here's my raw data right here. Okay. I want to take the mean and standard deviation of that data, so I'm going to say this cell down here is the average of this data right here. I'm going to call that M for mean. I also want to find the standard deviation, so I'm going to say this is equal to the standard deviation, STDEV, down here, of the same data here. And there's my standard deviation right there. I'm going to call that S. Like that. So the idea is I want to make a histogram of this data right here. Now, a histogram, of course, is a bar chart of how many points fall within a specific range. So I'm going to set up a bunch of ranges right here. I'm going to call these my bin boundaries. And I am going to, let's see, actually, you know what? I'm going to sort this data. It really doesn't matter, but it makes it more convenient to look at. So I'm going to come up here to data and sort based on that. Yeah. So I'm just going to sort that. So now the lowest one is here and the highest one is there. So let's say, for instance, I just arbitrarily say 50 here and 51 here and 52 there. And actually, I'm going to repeat that until I get up to 60. So I'm just going to do this. And there's 60 right there. So that's bins of 1 megapascal. These are all megapascals, right? These are yield strings. Okay. Now I need to make the everything between 50 and 51. I'm going to plot all of those. I'm going to count all of these data that fall between there. Actually, there aren't any, but oh well. Okay. But anyway, between 51 and 52, there's 1 there, right? So I'm going to plot all of them that are in there in that range on the y-axis, and on the x-axis, I'm just going to have the average there. So this is just going to be the average of those two. This is equal to the average of these two right here. Okay, so if I copy that down, then there's the average of each of the bins. So I'm going to have a bin here at 50.5, which goes left and right 0.5, right? Another one at 51.5, which goes left and right 0.5. Okay. And then I want to actually do count how many are in this bin between these two numbers, and how many are in that bin, which is between those two numbers, etc. And I'm going to use count if to do that. So I'm going to say equals count if. Count if, the syntax says I want a range here and a criteria there. So here's the range of numbers I want to count from, right? And I want this to be the criteria there has to be in quotes. It has to be a string, right? So this is going to be, it wants to be less than 50, right? Okay, this is going to be interesting because I don't want to hard code that in right there. So I can't count, if I do like a close off my quote right there, then it's going to be the string less than C2. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to have to do less than. There's my string right there. The way you do concatenation is with the ampersand there. So it's going to be less than that. So let's see right now what happens if we just do that. There's none there. None there. None there. Oh crap, it's not less than, it's greater than. Sorry about that. Greater than. Greater than. So there's all 19 of the data points right here. Oh, by the way, this is the data from all of the both A and B groups, but I did throw out one outlier, so there's only 19. See, there's only 19 guys here. So there's 19 of them that are greater than that, 18 of them that are greater than that, etc. There's only one that's greater than that. That's this guy right. Oh, this is actually greater than that guy, yeah. So what I want to do is, in order to create my how many are actually in this bin right here, I want to say, on this next one, I want to say greater than that, but I want to actually subtract off, and I'm going to just copy here. Oops, I got problems here. Escape. I need to actually, because notice that here's my range, A2 to A20. Come down here because I copied the formula down. I'm advancing that, and I don't want to do that. I want to nail that down so it never changes. And the way you do that is by putting dollar signs here and here. That just locks in that range. So now I'm going to double click that, like that. Okay. All right. Now I want to subtract off from that. I'm going to say minus that, but I'm going to just advance this one right here to C3, like that, and then double click here. So there's none in this range, there's one in this range, there's none in this range, none in that range, one in that range, etc. There's 10 in this range. That's all these guys right here. So all I've done here is I've set up a formula that says I want to count all of these guys that are in this range. If I go to the next one, I'm counting all the guys from here that are in that range. If I come down to the next one, I'm counting all the guys in that range, or that field right there, in between that range right there. So this is the data that I need to make the histogram. So if I just do that and say insert bar chart, a column chart, it thinks those are two separate things right there. So here's a trick. I'm going to delete that, and instead of doing a bar chart straight up or column chart, I'm going to say do an XY data, an XY scatter plot like this. So 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, etc. And then I can just right click on, rather just click on that, and then come up here and say chart and change the thing to a column instead, and boom, there we go. And it puts these down here as labels. So this is the range whose median is 51.5. This is the range whose median is 54.5. This is the one whose median is 56.5, etc. And these are all of the ones that fall in that range. Usually when you do histograms like that, you don't want these gaps between this. So I'm going to right click on that and say format the data series and say yank that gap width down to nothing. And maybe give it a line that's solid and black and thin. Like that. So there's a little histogram right there. Okay. The next thing is I want to overlay the Gaussian distribution there, and that's a little bit more involved. So I'm going to make another video of that in just a second.